So if you're over the age of 10 or so, you've probably seen this guy somewhere. But this guy is just one of the memorable characters in the 2015 hit game called Undertale. Undertale is an indie game made by Toby Fox that has an amazing story, the best soundtrack, and gameplay unlike any other, as far as I know of, and 3 different endings that really test your humanity. But first, let's start off with how you got here in the first place. Long ago, there were monsters that lived happily with humanity. Then, humans, being humans, did not like them anymore. So, they banished them to a fun place known as the underground. Flash forward a few lifetimes, and you have your character, Frisk. Frisk falls down a hole in a mountain into a pile of leaves. Might have gotten a concussion or 2. Maybe that's why they haven't subscribed yet. Anyways, after stumbling around a little bit, you find a flower. Their name? Flowey. Flowey is your best friend. Except he's like that one friend you see at the store every Tuesday. Anyway, he teaches you the basics, like what this is. It's your soul. And what love is, and what EXP is. And better yet, he shows you what death is. Yeah, he kind of tries to kill you with friendliness pellets. I wish someone would give me friendliness pellets. Huh? Friendship hurts. Anyways, back to what I was saying. He then surrounds you with friendliness pellets, and they slowly close in on you as he says, "It is a kill or be killed world." And then the friendliness pellets slowly surround you as you accept your demise. But wait a minute. They heal you. It's almost as if someone saved you. Wait, who's that? Yep, that's right. Someone did save you. And this person that saved you is Toriel. Toriel drags you into the ruins. A ruined labyrinth with traps and puzzles you must solve to teach you the game. Oh, and she also kind of abandons you while unnecessarily tensive music plays in the background to test your independence. But I think she just wanted to get away from you. And since you look like you haven't liked the video, I would too. But I digress. After going through a little bit more of the ruins, you get your first unsupervised fight with an enemy. And let me just show you what it's like to fight someone in Undertale. First off, there are 4 icons down here at the bottom of the screen. There's fight, which is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll explain it anyways. This lets you choose who you would like to attack. Then it takes you to this bar thingy where you time your attack, and depending on how close you get to the center means the more damage you do. Then there's act, which is also self-explanatory. Now that I think of it, all of these are pretty self-explanatory. Anyways, act lets you do an action depending on who you are up against. But there is one thing you can do with every enemy, and that's check, which lets you see the enemy's stats and just some fun facts about them. Other than that, the things you can do in act depend on the enemy in order to spare them. But we will get into that later. Next up is item. This lets you use an item like a consumable or equip new armor or weapons. And then, last but not least, there's Mercy. This is how you spare your opponent after doing a specific action or doing enough damage. Then there's Flee, which is just Anyways, with all that said, we are now able to talk about the first mini-boss. Napstablook is a ghost that's just the average guy, with no friends, has a low self-esteem, and literally cries in the battle, but he's overall a chill guy. He really just wants someone to cheer for him. I think I relate to this guy more than I thought. Napstablook is just a taste of what you will have to face in the future of Undertale. So you meet back with Toriel at her house because the ruins is conveniently a linear path, and she lets you stay for a bit. But of course, you're trying to get to Sans, so you get curious and ask Toriel how to leave the ruins. And she answers with no hesitation, the basement, where she stores all the other kids that fell into the underground. She then walks downstairs to do something. Tell the kids to run. So, naturally, you walk down there to the rest of the underground. She then fights you to test if you're worthy of going out there. No, she just really, really wants to kill me for some reason, and specifically me, which is very annoying. But anyways, Toriel is the first actual boss in Undertale. Toriel does not hold back on you. She will attack you until you hit 2 HP, then she'll chicken out and let you through. And that leaves us with the second area, which is Snowdin is overall the most popular area in Undertale, as it introduces some of the best characters, and overall, it's one of the most memorable places. So you are summoned outside of Toriel's door, and you walk down a totally not ominous path of trees that's also linear. What a coincidence. And when you get to a bridge, this shadowy figure comes up. And you shake his hand, and this is the fabled Sans. Yep, that's right. The only connection you had with Undertale is here. And he tells you to hide from his brother behind a conveniently shaped lamp. Now, who's his brother? Well, it's none other than Papyrus, of course. A piece of paper. Yeah, that's what Papyrus is named after, a piece of paper. Yeah. I know, it's crazy, right? Anyways, Papyrus is a human hunter, and his job is to look for and capture any humans that come across. Skip a few puzzles and you have another boss fight. Who's it against? Papyrus, of course. So, you know how earlier I said you could do specific actions depending on the character? Well, this is one of the characters that you can do a specific action for. Now, what is this action? Well, it's flirt. Yeah, that's right. You can flirt with Papyrus, and he'll literally go on a date with you. Now, when you fight Papyrus, he will change the color of your soul. And what color does he change it to? Well, blue. The different colors of your soul have different effects based off what color it is and what enemy you're fighting. Now, for Papyrus's matter, you have the soul type of blue, which basically makes you no longer defy the laws of physics itself and actually give in to gravity. The soul types are also dead children. The lore is kind of weird. But, yeah. So, I thought I should point that out, because it seemed like it needed pointing out. Anyways, in order to beat this fight, you can either kill him, date him, or just die enough times so that he'll spare you. Which leads us to our next area, which is Waterfall is a pretty boring place and very forgetful. It only has one boss fight, no mini bosses. So it's a pretty forgetful place. Now, after you go a little bit around Waterfall, you are able to find Mr. Sad Ghost, Napstablook, and his house, which is also next to a future guy's house, Metaton, but we'll get to him. Anyways, there are a few things you can do with Napstablook. You can stare off into the abyss known as his ceiling. You can gamble with snails. And you can just chill with him. You get to this place called the Tem Village, where you get to meet one of the creators of the game, Temmie. They kind of just sell you stuff, and that's really it. But after that, you get to meet Monster Kid. He is like a dinosaur without any arms. And he is a big fan of Papyrus's boss, Undying. Undying is the leader of the human hunting agency. And so, of course, when she finally finds you, of course she tries to get you. So she chases you along this weirdly shaped bridge, throws spears at you at every turn, but after getting through all of those spears and getting past the bridge, well, falling off the bridge, we get to our next mini-boss. Dummy is apparently a relative of the dummy you interacted with in your training in the ruins. And apparently whatever you did to him was so bad that Dummy really has to get his payback. And so he becomes the Mad Dummy. He shoots these magic attacks that deal damage to you. But since he's technically a ghost, you can't do damage to him with your knife or whatever you're holding. So you have to shoot his magic attacks back at him, which is a great way of defeating a boss. I really like it. Anyways, then he starts shooting missiles at you. And then he gets tired and throws a knife at you. But you survive that. And so he just gets tired and moves on. And then Napstablook comes in and saves you. After that run-in, Monster Kid almost falls off a bridge. And then you can either save him or don't. And then you get to fight Undyne. In your fight with Undyne, she introduces you to a new soul type. This soul type being green soul type. It makes it so that you cannot move. You just have to shield yourself from attacks. Basically F and F before F and F was even out. Now what's very annoying about this boss fight is that you have to wait for her to change you back to your red soul so that you can flee from the fight just to go right back into the fight afterwards. It is very annoying. But after fleeing a few times or attacking her a few times, you finally finish her off or save her or something, whatever you choose. And then you make it to the next area in the game, Hotland. Strap in because Hotland is a very long part of the game. So when you first get into Hotland, the first thing you see is a lab. Whose lab? Alphys's lab. Alphys is the scientist of the underground. She does science experiments. Obviously. She's also been watching you. And of course, like any other scientist, she built a killer human robot thingy that also likes to entertain. Because who wouldn't? And so the killer robot human thingy, whatever, his name is Mettaton, and he puts you into a game show where you have to answer correctly or else you'll die. Because he's a killer robot human thingy. Remember that. And then Alphys teaches you about the blue and orange color attacks. Papyrus did use the blue attacks, but I feel like it's better to talk about the orange and blue attacks at the same time. So the blue attacks make it so that if you don't move, you won't get hit. And the orange attacks are basically the exact opposite. If you don't move, you will get hit. So you have to move through the orange attacks. Anyways, do a few puzzles, then Mettaton shows up with the Underground's premier cooking show. Cooking with a killer robot. He then tells you to grab some ingredients and that you're the last ingredient, but Alphys asks him for a vegan option, and so you have to get some vegan thingamabobber from a shelf that grows very, very tall, and you have to get it within 2 minutes or something. I don't know. But anyways, after that you go through more puzzles, and then you get to see Mettaton as a reporter, and then you get to see a highly agile glass of water being used as a bomb. It's amazing. Then you also get to see a dog being used as a bomb. Everything's a bomb. And then you get to see a game that's a bomb. Probably GTA 5 for the Nintendo Switch, which makes sense. But yeah. After all that, you finally get to fight Muffet. Muffet is a spider-like creature thingy that likes to sell stuff and raise money for spiders. And you can also pay her. I don't know why, but you can pay her. But she also introduces you to a new soul type. This soul type being the purple soul type. You're able to go on 3 or more lines that go horizontally, and you get to move through those lines like Subway servers. And she has attack where a muffin tries to eat you, because that makes sense. And then, after the fight, you find Metaton singing you a very cringy love song. And then he drops you into a dungeon where you solve a few puzzles. And then finally, you get to fight him. Oh my gosh, it's been so long, but finally you get to fight him. But let me tell you, this fight is one of the most intense fights in Undertale. When you fight him, you are introduced by Alphys to a new soul type yellow. This makes you upside down and you can shoot things. So you shoot him and he chickens out. Yeah, I was joking about it being the most intense fight. But after one Alphys existential crisis later and a crazy Sans and Toriel lore drop, you reach the core. The core is a powerful factory full of a bunch of monsters, and this is where you really fight Metaton. Well, technically not Metaton, but we'll get there. After a ramble about Alphys just trying to play the hero, Metaton shows off his new form.
Oh, yes.
Metaton EX is the second coolest fight in Undertale. So, the first thing you notice is that there are ratings at the top left of the screen. These will go up and down depending on which actions you do in the fight. And not like only actions, like also like getting hit and eating things. Metaton will throw attacks at you, which you will have to shoot with your yellow soul power, and you also have to shoot his heart to make his limbs fall off. Or you could like get the ratings all the way up, but that's the easier way. And then Alphys tells you, as you're walking to the next area, Alphys tells you that you're not able to just walk through the barrier. Instead, you need a human soul, which you already have, and a monster soul. Meaning, you'll have to kill Asgore and take his soul. As you walk into the castle, you get to see this beautiful city that is only gray. And then you get to find a replica of Toriel's house, but it's just gray and yellow flowers. As you walk around this replica of Toriel's house, you have to collect 2 keys. And you can also get a real knife and a heart locket, which is in the same room. And you get a lot of encounters as you're walking towards Asgore, and they tell you the story of Undertale. Long ago, a human fell into the underground, and because they were hurt after the fall, they yelled out for anyone to help them. Then the king's son, Azrael, came to help them. Azrael and the human soon became like siblings, and the king and queen treated them as so. The whole underground was happy. But one day, the kid got sick. His last request was to see the flower from his old village. The next day they passed. Azrael, consumed with grief, he absorbed the human soul and was able to walk right through the barrier to the overworld. There, he went to a village where the human used to live, and at the center of the village found a bed of golden flowers. He carried the human into it, but then, suddenly, the entire village started attacking him, thinking that he had fatally injured the child. Azrael could have erased them all from existence at that very moment, but he did not find back. Holding the human, he smiled and walked away. Wounded, Azrael stumbled home and collapsed, spreading his dust across the garden. The kingdom fell into despair. For the second time, humans had taken everything from them. The king decided enough was enough. Any human that fell down must be executed so that they can break the barrier once and for all. After all that, you meet Sans. He tells you he's been watching you this entire time and judging you, and that he will give his final judgment whether you can live or die depending on how many you've let live or die. But in this route, he lets you live because you haven't turned everyone to dust. We'll get into that later. If you look around hard enough before entering the throne room, which is where you will initiate the fight against Asgore, you can find the coffins of all the other human souls. Anyways, when you walk into the throne room, you can see Asgore watering his plants. He remarks how beautiful the weather is, but you both know what must happen as you walk to the battlegrounds in which you will fight him. Asgore feels the tension as he is well aware of what he must do. He shows you the barrier that separates all the underground from the overworld and begins the fight. Asgore immediately destroys the mercy button before you can even use your first turn, so you must fight him. In your battle, Asgore uses fire attacks just like the ones Toriel used in your fight against her. He also uses this trident swinging attack that are blue and orange and that cover the entire battleground. But after a while, if you're good enough, you will defeat him. As he kneels and says his last words, he tells you to take his soul and leave, but you have a choice. But no matter what you choose, it happens to be a Tuesday, so your best friend Flowey comes back with his friendliness pellets to finish the job. He absorbs all the human souls, and then the story from the beginning of the game begins to play. Except there are some differences. On the second slide of the story, it begins to glitch out. And instead of saying, but one day the humans imprisons the monsters underground, it says, one day they all disappeared without a trace. Which is not creepy at all, I promise. And from there, you're back to the starting screen with the world corrupted, saying, Flowey, level 9999. When you press continue, this happens. Photoshop Flowey is a very unique fight. First off, Photoshop Flowey has so many attacks that are very hard to dodge. But let me tell you, that is not all. He can sometimes use the other souls to attack, and you have to go towards the act button from earlier, somewhere in the attack, making the attack heal you instead of hurting you. It says when you press act, you call for help. I guess you're calling on the human souls for help. If you survive, the human souls will unite and heal you, and takes Flowey's defense all the way down to 0, so that you can actually deal damage to him. Great, wonderful. Something I forgot to mention is that Flowey will save and load attacks to throw you off really badly. How do you deal damage if you're never going to get your turn? Because that's how the Flowey fight works for some reason. Well, the fight button will appear just over your health bar, and this will attack Flowey, like fight him, obviously. Healing will drop from Flowey to finally keep you alive until this. He will load the same 2 attacks to literally destroy you until you're going to die. But then the human souls kill Flowey. So that's great. And after this, you are given the option to spare or kill him. He'll become a regular flower or run away from you, even though he is a flower, and you'll be able to beat the game. Look at this chart. This is every choice you can make in Undertale. And as you can see, there are a lot of things. So a lot of choices that lead to a lot of different endings. And in this specific ending, the pacifist ending, you have to spare every enemy you face, which means going to the mercy button a lot. If I explain everything about this run, this video would be 1 hour long. So let's just cut right to the chase and talk about the true lab. So you go into Alphys's lab after beating the game, and you can go into the place where Alphys always goes to when she hides away. And you find an elevator. And going down this elevator, it breaks and you fall into the True Lab. The True Lab is where you learn about the real things Alphys does that she hides from you in any other route. She extracts determination from the human souls and infuses them into monsters to create amalgamates. These amalgamates are impossible to hurt, but the only thing that you can do to beat them is act in certain ways to spare them. They also have some of the most unique attacks in the game. It's pretty cool. Anyways, you go through sparing all the amalgamates you can, get a few keys, and try to turn the power back on. But some amalgamates get a little mad and try to attack you. But Alphys saves you, and she then sends the amalgamates back to their families for them to scream at and also be happy at. Which is then when we learn that Alphys created Flowey. Anyways, after that you are transported back to the castle where you fight Asgore again. But this time, Toriel saves you. And then all of the other people that you saved or spared, which is everyone in the underground, comes to join in on your little yap sesh. And I mean everyone. Like everyone. With the help of a tiny little flower. Yep, we're getting another boss fight. Oh my gosh. Flowey, being overpowered by everyone in the underground, uses their final form. Yep, that's right. Flowey has been Asriel Dreamer this entire time. Yup, you heard me correctly. A flower has been Asriel Dreamer, the son of Asgore, and the son of Toriel this entire time. Asriel Dreamer used some cool attacks, and he even starts using these cool attacks after doing a bunch of Toriel's attacks right before the beat drop. And an even cooler part is that when you die, your soul puts itself back together and it says, "But it refused," as you resume the fight. I feel like at this point I shouldn't even really call it a fight, should I? Like, should I just call this a painful argument because you're not actually fighting back? After enough build up, he will make the box so big that it covers the entire screen and does this attack that looks somewhat like attack we'll see later, and absorbs everything, including you, leaving you at 1 HP. A little bit of the painful argument later, and you get to see Asriel become a white boy. After this white boy encounter, we are put into Asriel Phase 2, where he basically just talks and throws stuff at you. But after you struggle enough, you take one last reach for your save file, or something, and boom, your act option is replaced with a save option, where you can save all of the monsters by doing a bunch of actions and fending off from their attacks. As you do this, one of my favorite song plays, and it's playing in the background of this video right now. After saving everyone in the underground, there is one more option with 3 question marks. This is, of course, as you could guess, Asriel. When you click it, you are shown the story I gave you earlier about the kid that fell into the underground, the first one, and after all of that, he weakly throws fireballs at you, and then in an enraged, sad mix of emotions, he uses one large attack that literally takes out most of the menu except for the save button, and you continuously try to save Asriel. After talking to Asriel, he will break the barrier by using the T-pose of power, and also the 6 human souls and the monster spirits, but the T-pose of power to destroy the barrier. And you hug him as he disappears, and you wake to find all of the Undertale bosses standing worried that you had been hurt, like they didn't just see exactly what just happened. I digress. After all that, you are able to leave the underground and look at the sunset, and the cast of the game shows. After that, you're lying in a bed, and it seems to be in the overworld. Storia walks in and puts a plate of pie on the ground, like in the beginning of the game. Now that's a perfect ending to a perfect game, and that's the true ending. Except, if there's a happy pacifist route, then there must be a... That's not the real name of the ending, it just... I'm scared of YouTube. So, in this ending, it's the most grindy because you have to exterminate every monster in the game. Meaning, you have to do a little summoning dance a bunch of times in every area, which is super annoying. But it's pretty much worth it to be able to one-shot anything. After doing that a few times, you're able to continue with the game semi-normally after one-shotting everyone up until you get to the Mad Dummy. The Mad Dummy is happy. You make him so mad that he is happy, which is very confusing. But now you get to actually fight Monster Kid. Not like just talk with him, just fight him. And so, you'd think you'd one-shot him because he's just a child. Of course, you'd one-shot him. But, just watch this. Yep, that's right. She's even more powerful than she was normally. And I couldn't even beat her normally. How am I supposed to beat her like this? Anyways, it's the basically exact same fight, except you have to fight her. Yeah. Anyways, after undying, you're able to go on and destroy anything else in your path until you get to the Mettaton fight. Because this is where things start getting hard. This fight is action-packed. I'm pretty sure this is what takes up 180 megabytes of this game size. Wait. This game is only 200 megabytes? What? That's insane. I thought this would be so much bigger with the 3 endings, the multiple boss fights, the great looking gameplay. It's what? That's insane. Anyways, in this fight with Mettaton, he goes straight into his final form, which is Mettaton Neo. And this is insane. Just watch this. Yeah, I lied to you again. Mettaton dies in the first hit. Apparently he has no defense. That's weird. Anyways, after that you get to see a familiar face. Sans. And he judges you on how many people you've exterminated. And let me just say, since you're on this specific route, it's not going to end well for you. That's for sure. This may be the hardest fight in all of Undertale, even though he has 1 health. And tell me you haven't heard this song. If you don't believe me when I say that this is a very hard fight, just watch this. Just do me a favor and watch this real quick. If you don't believe that this is the hardest fight, let me just show you. So this website is called Bad Time Simulator. And if I just press normal here, it will bring me to the actual game. Oh gosh. Oh, and I'm lagging. Oh my god. Oh! Show up. Ow! Oh my gosh! Do you see what I mean? God, this is a hard battle. Look, let me just keep going. This is not. Oh God. And I'm lagging. Now I'm moderately good at this because I practice a lot, but yeah, I'm not. Oh, I'm alive. That's wow. I'm alive. That's yeah, it's hard. Do you believe me now? That aside, Sans does a special type of damage called karma damage. It's basically like a poison of some sort. It does damage to you over time. So if you try to use a healing item, you should wait until the damage is dealt, especially if you heal with full health. This karma damage also has a large buff that makes it super OP because it eliminates invincibility frames. That is right. It takes out any invincibility frames. So if you get stuck in between some bones, you're dead. Also, you know how I was talking about Azrael having an attack that was kind of like a future attack? Well, that future attack is in this fight. I'm pretty sure you've seen it before because everyone knows Sans. It's the Gaster Blaster. It's pretty cool. But after all of that attacking, Sans gets tired and he tries to spare you, but if you do, he'll kill you. And the game over screen even says, get dunked on. But if you don't spare him, he dodges your attack and hits you with even worse attacks. By the way, throughout this fight, he does use the blue soul type like his brother Papyrus. But anyways, eventually, he will use his special attack, in which he will change your gravity and smack you against the walls. But after smacking you a bunch of times so that you get to 1 health, he gets tired because he's a skeleton that's lazy. So, he takes a nap during his turn so that you can't use your turn. So, naturally, like anyone would have thought, you move the battleground box thingy that you're in to the fight button and attack him. But he does dodge your attacks, and then you slash him one more time. After that kind of sad moment, you are able to go straight to Flowey and Asgore. No Photoshop Flowey. And you are then greeted with the child from the story I told you. The one that fell and screamed. The one that was like a sibling to Azrael. Their name, I'm pretty sure their default name, was Chara. And they say, thank you for exterminating the bugs for them. And then they slash you. And yippee, your game crashes. Hooray. As you can see, Undertale is one of the most creative games I've ever seen. Like, look at all these creative names. Try typing one of these in Microsoft Word and not getting red squiggly lines under it. Not only that, it has an amazing soundtrack. This soundtrack is so good, sometimes I even let it predict my future. Confession, okay. Bad song, good start for my future, okay. Dating start, okay. Dating tense, alright. What do you mean, death report? Anyways, please subscribe if you liked the video. And like the video if you enjoyed the video. And comment what your favorite song is, other than Megalovania, please. Like, my favorite is Hopes and Dreams. But anyways, if you want a little bit of a challenge, try to figure out every song I used in this video. I don't know, just something to do. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video, and Thank you for watching. Bye.